Hello everyone, welcome to Aligning with Purpose, a podcast where we explore themes of finding your true purpose, from quitting corporate, moving cities, practicing holistic health, and more. Join me as we discover our purposes together. My name is Juli, and I'm so happy you're here. Hello everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Today we'll be doing a unscripted podcast episode. So if you have joined for the other unscripted podcast episodes, it's when I just candidly share some updates that have been going on in my life. And I do really love this part of the podcast because it allows me to just share candidly what I'm feeling, what's going on in my life. So I thought it would be an appropriate time to also check in about our New Year's resolutions, since we are already halfway through the year, which is absolutely insane. But since we are half of the way through, I want to be transparent with where I am with all my progress. And I also want to talk about my 30th birthday, give some reflection on that, and also talk about my coaching certification. So that's been a whole new theme for this whole year. So it'll be exciting to just share what the process has been like, because I don't think I've had the chance to really share the nitty-gritty of it all. So we're going to get right into that. But before we get started, I want to start off with our Beauty and Humanity segment. And for this week's Beauty and Humanity segment, I just had a phone call actually with one of my really good friends in New York. And, there are just certain people that you meet in life where you just feel like you've met them in another lifetime, that you've just know them super well. And with my friend, I just had this instant connection with her. So I was on the phone with my friend and I was just telling her about my week and just like some of the struggles that I was going through. And we both were reflecting on our days, and she was telling me like, Juli, you were on my mind today, and I just had this inkling to text you all day. And the moment she texted me, I had texted in a group chat, and she was like, oh my gosh, this is a sign. And that was like the moment that she was also going to text me. It was almost intuitive the way we knew we needed to be there for each other in that moment, because she was also going through some things in her week that were difficult. I just want to share how appreciative I am for the adult friendships in our lives and just friendships in general. I think the topic of friendships can be not the easiest sometimes, especially as we enter our adulthood, because we don't have access to a school system where we're seeing friends every day, where we could make new connections, and you really have to put yourself out there to find the right people for you and to align with the people that bring value to your life. That can be a really, really intimidating thing. But I think there's also beauty in finding such special people in your life, and it's never too late to find such great friends. And that's not to obviously take away from the friends that you've had before, but there's so much value in finding friends in all the stages of your life. They are truly our chosen family, and that's the only thing we really have control of, the people we choose to have in our lives. And I think that is a really, really special thing to have with someone. So cheers to all of your friendships, and let's get going with today's podcast episode. If you're ready to stop looking outside of yourself for the answers and truly decode your unique energetic blueprint, I have something super special for you guys. I've partnered with incredible Brenda Matosh, the founder of Attuned Guidance. Brenda offers deep dive gene key sessions and also powerful online courses that meet you exactly where you are on your journey. Whether you want to understand why your vibration matters, decode the universe with signs and synchronicities, or do the deep inner work with mirror reflections and mastering your triggers, she has a container right for you. And because you're a listener of this show, Brenda is giving you 40% off any session or course. Just head to attuneguidance.com and use the code YOSHI40, YOSHI 40. It's one use per person, but the code never expires. So go find a course that speaks to your soul today, and the link will be in the bio. I really want to be transparent with our New Year's resolutions today. And I promised that I would do a little check-in about my New Year's resolutions when I released that episode last year. if you also did your New Year's resolutions and you want to kind of do an accountability check with yourself, right now is probably a good time for you to also do that with me right now. Let's start with number 1. So the first one was to be consistent with my spiritual practice, and that entailed my morning routine and wanting to be better about doing a grounding exercise, doing a meditation, and clearing my energy and then protecting it. I'm going to be completely honest with you. This year has been, every year is crazy, right? But this year has been pretty go, especially with me finding and knowing what career path I want to take next. I have been in my coaching certificate all year, and that is not an excuse, but I have definitely not been as good at my spiritual practice. I give myself, if I were to grade myself, I would give myself a C+. I do it occasionally, but I haven't been doing it consistently. I will say, meditating every single day for a month, I want to say. But I kept falling asleep in my meditations, and that was frustrating me. There would be some really, really good days where I had breakthroughs with my meditation, where I would feel some energy around me, and I would feel me tapping into my subconscious almost. But then there were so many other days where I would just fall asleep. And as I started to get busy with my life, I definitely started to fall off. So this is something that I want to continue to get better at. And I want to bring my C+ to at least a B+ by the end of the year. So we'll see where we're at the end of the year. Number 2 is to do daily gratitudes. And I wanted to start with 5 as opposed to 10. I will give myself an F for this. This is something that I have not done at all. And this is why I have been really, really opposed to doing New Year's resolutions. I feel like we always put such high expectations for ourselves, and it's so hard to really snap into doing something new at the start of the new year. And it's so much better to do gradual things. So, after I go through all of this, I think I will reflect on how I approach this in the future and how I goal set. And especially with my coaching tools, this is going to all look different as well in the future. And the third thing that I put is to build better sleep habits. And for this one, I will give myself an A-. And to me, that is such a big win, because if you know me, I am a night owl through and through. Nothing bad with that at all. I think everyone just has such different circadian rhythms or sleep schedules, and it's okay if you're a morning person, a night person, and what you do with your time is for you, as long as it works for you, right? But for me, I really wanted to get in the habit of sleeping by 11 or 12 p.m. so I can wake up earlier and to maximize my day and start it earlier and whatnot. Because I moved in with my boyfriend, he is a morning person, and that naturally encouraged me to want to sleep earlier as well. So with his influence, I've started to sleep earlier. I haven't slept at 11 p.m. I will say that is probably not really realistic for me, but I definitely sleep by 12:30 p.m. pretty much most nights now. And for me, that is pretty early, so that's a win. I'll give myself an A- for that. The fourth thing that I put is run twice a month. And I thought that this would be a super duper achievable thing, but it hasn't been. And I think it's because the cold winter months were a lot, and it was just really hard to drag myself out to run in the cold. I'm just not going to grade myself here because I definitely have fully not prioritized this, and I have not really thought about running. So this is something that I hope I can get to. And on that note, I also want to share that it's okay if your priorities change, right? I thought at the beginning of the year that this is what I wanted, but clearly I have not put this into practice, and I don't feel terrible about it. I think there are other ways that I have been getting exercise, and that's the most important thing for me, to know that I'm being productive with my day and to be getting other forms of exercise. And if I decide that running becomes a part of my routine, then that will be a great thing. But I think this is one that I will just take out of my resolutions and not look back. Number 5 is to drink more water, and I will give myself an A for this as well. I have definitely drinking significantly more water this year. as compared to last year, and I think it's because of my new Owala. I got an Owala water bottle for Christmas, and at first I was like, what is the craze with Owalas? It's another water bottle fad where another brand becomes popular again, but this time I kind of understand it. The straw or the chugging, different mechanisms of the cup or the water bottle, it's really been beneficial for me to drink more water. And a lot of the people that own Owalas have said the same thing. So, I give credit to my new water bottle, and I definitely will continue to drink more water. Number 6 is to call home weekly. And I am going to admit that I have been very bad at this. This is something I am not proud of. I really wanted to make this a priority, but I clearly have been slacking in this department. I think it's easy for us in our adult lives to get caught up in our lives and then forget about the things that truly matter and the people that really keep us grounded and that are there for us unconditionally. And for me, it's really important to make it a point to call home. So I think seeing this as a reminder was important, but also to just check in with myself in what am I prioritizing and what am I not prioritizing, and how can we make more time for this. So I am going to give myself a C for this, and I don't want to carry the guilt of this, but it's a really good reminder for us to make time for the people in our lives that really matter. Last but not least, number 7 is to read 30 minutes every single day and to replace scrolling time with reading. I will say that I have gotten better at reading and reading more frequently, but it hasn't been every day, and it has definitely not been 30 minutes a day. I'm on the train for around 15 minutes every single day, so during those times I definitely do read. But yeah, I think I do want to make it more of a consistent thing, but this was just a really good reminder that New Year's resolutions, I have a lot of different feelings about it. It can be really tough to just put together so many goals and then have all these things that you want to accomplish, but because you haven't set a foundation or routine for yourself, it's going to be hard to really have that be sustainable, right? And I think I've definitely, proven that to be true. Going forward with the things that I've learned in my coaching journey, I know how to implement things better for them to become a healthy habit. So I'll talk about that in a new episode where we talk about forming better habits and how we can prioritize things and time manage a little bit better. That is my full transparency on my New Year's resolutions. I hope you did a better job than I did, but good job for doing the best that you can, because I know life can have so many different things thrown your way. One thing that I really wanted to talk about today is my 30th birthday. And if you listened to a few episodes back, I turned 30 in April. It was a really great time to reflect on my 20s and what I have to look forward to in my 30s. And the turn of a decade is such a great time for us to see how far we've come with our lives and to appreciate every single chapter that we've had. So to celebrate my 30th birthday, I really wanted to do something special, so I chose to do a volunteering event with my friends this year. Historically, I will say that I have always done something drinking related, but this year I wanted to stay away from drinking altogether. As someone who has become a little bit more in tune with my energy and with spirituality, I haven't been so drawn to drinking alcohol as much. Of course, there will be an occasional night with friends where we're having drinks, and that is okay. However, I think for me this year, I just wanted to be really intentional and present with myself, but also my friends, and to just really take in this reflective moment. And I was like, what can I do that feels really fulfilling and really present and really meaningful? And to me, volunteering was the first thing that came up when I thought about this. It was my first time volunteering in New York City, so it was such a great way for me to understand the city a little bit more and to also feel like I'm a part of the city and this community. as a transplant myself, I think it is so important for us to understand the community that New York City is and the culture, the generations that came before, what really made the city what it is, because there's so much conversation about people taking over New York City, all the transplants, and I see that perspective too. I think people come here, treat it as a playground, and then they leave. For me, I know that I have my certain goals here as well. I came here because I knew that this was the perfect place to really challenge myself to grow as an individual, but also because my gut had this knowing to come here. But regardless of all of that, it's so important for us as transplants to be able to respect the community and the culture that has been ingrained and to give back, because you're gaining so much from the city, so might as well take the opportunity to give back, because by us being here, it also takes away resources from the community that has been here, and it's important to recognize that. I think for me, those were some of the reflections that I had, especially volunteering. It's obviously a real conversation to be had. People don't talk about this as often. It can be uncomfortable, right? But it's a necessary one to have. There's also another thing that I want to mention in my reflection, that doing something like a pantry event was so impactful, but at the same time, I saw that it was sort of like a bandage solution to the overall, I guess, problem that we have as a society. And this is something that we were talking about with the organizers of the volunteer event, where they do this every single week. This is their jobs. They are coordinating these volunteer events for us to come to. And the thing that really stuck to me when I was talking to the organizer was that he was talking about how food prices have constantly and continuously increased. And that's what made more and more people sign up for these food drives. So with the issue of inflation, with the issue of people losing their jobs, with everything rising in prices, there is just no really sustainable way or solution for people to live a healthy lifestyle, or a lifestyle that is going to allow them to have basic needs for them. And I think for me, it was really important to be able to volunteer, see it firsthand, and to gain a little bit more perspective on this, because I was quite honestly really unaware of all these things. To come into this situation where I had the privilege of volunteering, it makes you aware, and I think awareness is the first step to making any change at all. So obviously there's no overnight solution to this, but we can continue to educate ourselves, to give back when we can, and to be an active participant in our communities. This was an enlightening way to spend my 30th birthday, and honestly the perfect way to ring in a new decade of reflection and more purpose. So the last thing I want to talk about is my coaching certification journey. If you listen to the last few podcast episodes, you now know that I am a certified holistic life transition coach. I feel so passionate about the work that I get to do now. I will say it wasn't easy for me to come to this decision to becoming a life coach. And I will start at the very, very beginning, that before I started with my coaching journey, I had such a fear of investing in myself. That fear really prevented me from pursuing the things that I actually wanted in my life. So for 4 months, I went back and forth on if I should do this coaching program or not, if I knew if this was going to be my career. There was just a lot of internal dialogue, right, that was holding me back from making a decision at all. And I know I touched on this in the last episode, and I will also do a separate episode on this, but decision making is so important because the decision itself is always neutral. We only label a decision as right or wrong after the fact, because we have more information to know if it was right or wrong, quote unquote, right? It's so important for us to continue to make decisions, because that gives us more information, it gives us more awareness, and it allows us to propel forward and not let us stay stuck in this indecisive phase of our life and to postpone our lives. So it was such a game changer moment as soon as I decided to do the program, because that was the moment where I started to really challenge my limiting beliefs and to really grow through the things that were really holding me back in my life. And getting coached through this program, going through the coaching process and practicing it really gave me the tools to understand that it is really up to us to confront our issues head first. And the more you're able to confront yourself, the more you get out of life, because you met yourself at the deepest parts of who you are and what challenges that you're going through. And then if you can clear all those things, then you're widening the road to make sure that you get everything you want. So for me, one of those things was doing this program. If I hadn't taken the risk, if I hadn't overcome the limits that I had for myself or the life that I knew I could build, then I would have never done it and I would have stayed stuck in my life, right? There were other things like money blocks that I had, and I had a very unhealthy relationship with money, the way I viewed money. And I think there's a lot of people who also have unhealthy relationships with money, but we just don't talk about it because it's so taboo, and we create so many rules with it because of our upbringing. And there's so many different ways that we see money. Being able to confront these things head first allowed me to really understand that, wow, I am the only person that was getting in my own way. And it's important for me to understand the things that were holding me back so I don't have to be held back anymore. And that was a really, really important realization that I had. So in the first few months, I had so many limiting beliefs, and a lot of them were related to coaching. How am I going to make this a career of mine? What if it doesn't work out? What if I'm investing so much into myself? Is it going to be worth it? Who am I to start my own business in this way? There were a lot of thoughts that were going on in my mind, and it was important to break down each one of those because each one of those were preventing me from living my highest self. I can confidently say now that a lot of those beliefs have been put to the wayside. Now I can confidently say that I make decisions for me. I don't make decisions because I am afraid to be seen or I'm afraid of what people are going to think of me, because all of that doesn't matter. It should be about your goals and what you want to accomplish, because people's opinions at the end of the day don't matter. So who are you going to make that decision for? Your fearful self or the self that you feel the most empowered in? And sometimes you're going to have to make those hard decisions and do things when you're uncomfortable, because when you're doing things when you're uncomfortable is when you see the most growth. Being able to put that into practice was so helpful, and to be able to confront myself allowed me to see the transformation in myself, and that will also allow me to be able to support my clients at a deeper level, because I was able to meet myself at the deepest level that I knew that I needed to see myself in. Overall, coaching has been the biggest blessing that I've had in my life, and I am so grateful that this path presented itself to me, or that I found it. And it's important for us to be true to ourselves and to understand what we feel called to do, understand our value system, understand who we are at the core, and to pursue the things based off of who we are and not because of an external thing. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Aligning with Purpose. I am super grateful for all of your support, and you can catch this episode on Spotify, any of your favorite streaming platforms. You can also catch the video version on YouTube. I am also available on social media on Instagram and TikTok at aligningwithpurpose.pod and at Julioshi, JuliyOshi. If you can rate, comment, subscribe, all the things on any of the platforms or all of them, that would be really appreciated, and I would be forever grateful for all of your support. Without further ado, I'm going to close out this episode, and I will catch you all next Thursday.